fun time to be with all of you this morning. I'm delighted to have a few minutes with all of you talking about something that is my real passion and my meaning in life, which is you on purpose, and really exploring together where are you coming from in terms of your purpose, and is it coming from an intention of meaning, or are you in a pursuit of happiness? Have you been on purpose, or has that shifted or changed? So the best place to start for me is in the beginning. This was me when I went to college, right? I was really excited about going off to college. And I had a real significant purpose when I went because I was the very first person from my mom's side of the family to go to college. So I wanted to prove myself, and I wanted to demonstrate for my family that we could do it and really make it happen. So I showed up there with this inherent purpose that I'd gotten from my family and had a lot of passion around what I was doing. And then I had the great fortune of landing my first job with a medical device company in medical device sales. And then I was standing in the operating room next to surgeons and nurses who were literally holding the patient's hands in their lives during every procedure. And I got to be part of that with the products and therapies that I was providing. So at a very young age, in my 20s, for about 6 years, I was attached to something that was greater than myself, and really got a sense for what a mission is like. And that sounds really great, but then it got even better for me. And I left that organization, and I went to another organization called Medtronic. And my belief is they've had one of the best corporate missions I've ever come across, which is to help patients return to a fuller life with their devices. And literally 38,000 employees around the globe embraced that mission, not only in their heads intellectually with what we were doing, but in our hearts. And so every day for me over my 13-year career there, I jumped out of bed because there was something bigger and more important than I was doing that was beyond just my immediate role as either a sales rep or a sales leader or a leader of other leaders, but something that intrinsically really motivated me, right? I felt like I was part of something really great. And so I had lots of success because I had all of these things in terms of vision, mission, purpose, and passion. So when I retired out of corporate America about 4.5 years ago, and I went into business for myself as a leadership and business coach, I brought that same clarity to what I was doing. I wanted to be on purpose with who I am. And my belief is that we are living our greatest purpose when we're using our gifts and our talents and our experience in a way that truly serves others and does good in the world. So I was really clear about that's what I wanted to do, and it was awesome. Like I came out of this amazing industry and attracted clients from not only that industry, but new people who said, hey, I want that same thing. I want clarity on who I am and how I can show up powerfully in the world. So it was really excellent, and I was very excited when I started my business. And then, shift happened. I did say shift. Shift happened. Life happened, right? And about, 10, 12 months ago, my kids were at the stage where they were 10 and 13 years old, so their lives are getting busier. And my husband finally landed for him an ideal role being a leader at Denver Health Medical Center down here in Denver, completely lined up with his own gifting and his purpose, which was awesome, except that we live in North Boulder, so you add in that commute all the way down here to Denver and back, makes for a very long day, which then shifted the primary CHO responsibilities back to me. You all know what a CHO is? The Chief Home Officer for the Fedo family, right? That was me, the packing lunches, doing homework, carpooling kids, all of those things, right? And I was really serving my kids. So what happened was I got really frustrated and resentful because something or someone was really starting to get in my way of leaning into my meaning and into my purpose. And I really wanted to figure out what that was. So last fall I was in a program and this question was asked of the entire group. Now before I answered this question, I made a commitment that I wanted to come from a place of fierce ownership, really owning where I am today and where I wanted to be, as well as a commitment to being transparent and vulnerable about how I was showing up and where I was. So when I answered this question, what is the worst thing that someone could say about me, think on LinkedIn or Facebook, it was this. And if you say this about me now on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'll be at home with a tissue box crying. So just know that. Like this is really wounding to admit this out loud and share this with my partner. But where the real transformation and breakthrough came for me and where my growth edge was answering this question. what benefit to me and to the world is there if it's really true that Jacquie Fedo is selfish and self-centered? And of course, my intellectual brain wanted to say, well, that's not true. I'm really giving, right? I give my time in my community, at my church, at the kids' school, on the boards that I serve. But that was the intellectual side, and I really made myself get rooted in my body and say, okay, if I'm really selfish and self-centered, what's the benefit? And what popped up for me was rest. I'm like, wow, I could sleep more, I could exercise more, I could eat the food that I want when I want to, and I have freedom. All of a sudden I felt really light that I have freedom. And the thing that followed the freedom was permission for me to move back into my meaning and my purpose. Okay, happiness versus meaning. Tom talked about this, right? That happiness tends to be triggered from the outside. And joy, I think, really comes from something internal. And it really comes when we make peace with who we are and we take ownership of the things we value and the choices that we make. And Tom said, meaning comes from pursuing a purpose bigger than ourselves. So here's my question for each of you to consider and talk about at your tables, which is, what is the greater purpose that you are truly committed to every day? Something that gives you both joy and true meaning. And what do you need to start doing or stop doing so that you can be more fully aligned with your greater purpose?